Okay, we are talking about tipping today, and tipping has become even more a part of the conversation as a lot of customers are starting to question why they are tipping and how much they are tipping. And we're going to look at it mostly from a business point of view today. What, as a business, how do you approach accepting tips? Do you want to accept tips? Do you want to say no to tips altogether? So David, first of all, as a consumer, when you're going to the different outlets, are there times where you are questioning whether or not you should be tipping someone?
All the time. In fact, more often than not. As a consumer, I understand if you go to a restaurant and they provide a service, go above and beyond. Of course, you want to leave a tip, and you feel good about leaving a tip when you get good service. But there's other places where you think to yourself, did you really get a service? I walked into an ice cream place, get me a scoop of vanilla. Okay, did you want to leave a tip? It's like, okay, what customer service did you give me? So as a consumer, I I don't like seeing that, right? I don't like seeing that, especially when they ask you in front of a lot of people. Say you're in line, there's five people behind you, and out loud, oh, did you want to leave a tip? Sometimes you feel forced, like, oh, okay, and you're thinking, man, I just got a scoop of ice cream, right? Like, I don't even
In
want
a,
to go back. They're always asking for a tip. They're trying to force it on you.
in a way, it's so disproportionate, and it's actually unfair to waiters in the sense that you get an ice cream that takes maybe right a minute to serve you and you're done, but then they might get a 10% tip off of that. Let's say your total is $11 and you tip $1 on top of that. That is a lot relative to what they've done. And you compare that to a waiter, and the waiter's just not racking up that much in tips. So I think it's disproportionate in that regard. And I think the way I look at it is this tip like, is what you're doing, is it baked into the product, right? Are you serving ice cream? That, like you said, that is separate from actually serving me. You're not really serving me so much as you are fulfilling your job obligation, which is to make sure that people get ice cream. So I think the tipping in there has gone on the wrong side. And I'm someone, I like to tip people, but when it's something where it's just like a very transactional in nature, and it's just like I'm getting one thing, I don't think a tip is called for.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, there's a lot of situations where the business is really pushing the bounds of when a tip would be called for. Like, for example, when I go and I have my car washed and the people are detailing my car, I want to tip them just because I think that's something where a tip is appropriate. But now we are seeing businesses extend tips to where, in situations where it would have never been even contemplated before. So have you experienced that where you're like, you said with the ice cream example, but there are other more examples where you're like, why, is there more scenarios where you're questioning why you should be tipping to someone?
Oh yeah. Coffee shops, but one of the worst ones I've seen was, I'm not gonna name the business, but it's a cookie place. So you go, can I get a chocolate chip cookie? Takes 5-10 seconds. Okay, would you like to leave a tip? And it's on there. Sorry, it's on the machine, and I'm thinking like, and I felt forced. Now I don't tip. I just say no. But before I would feel embarrassed. I'm like, yeah, I'll put $1, $2, and come on, getting a cookie and asking for a tip, like literally cookie right next to you, chocolate chip cookie. Here you go. Would you like to leave a tip?
Well, the part where, so why I tip is slightly different. And here's the other angle to this. Sometimes they're having you tip before you even receive the product or service.
Yeah.
So at that point, I don't know what I'm getting back in return. And even if I was inclined to leave a tip, I don't know what is going to happen after I do. So why am I tipping? And you haven't done anything anyways. I haven't received anything yet. But the reason why I sometimes feel compelled to tip is, I'll just call it, I don't want anybody to spit in my food. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
like, I don't want anything to go awry because I said no tip. Now, if it's after the fact, like you, sometimes I feel an obligation to tip because I'm like, okay, like I can kind of see it. This person's working in a service industry, or whatever the case is. This person did wait on me to an extent, so maybe I tipped them. But generally, I think now too, it's been more been more top of mind, and I think I'm just going to draw a line to where I think that if something does not call for a tip, I'm going to end it. I'm just going to say no. I'm not tipping you.
yeah. And no longer is the recommended tip 10% or anything will do, right? It's now on the invoice 15%, 18%, and like 25%. So what does that tell me? They look down on the 10% tip. So if I go somewhere, spend $50, if I leave $5, $6 tip, that's looked down upon now. They're expecting like 10, 15, $20.
Right. And like you said, like with the ice cream example, like why are you getting 15% anyways?
Yeah.
Right. So like you said, and some of these are like more of like a round up to the nearest dollar, like maybe round up to, like, how you used to, like sometimes when they have the physical tip jar and you put change in there, you provide the remainder of your change, and that would be the tip. But it wasn't, anything more wasn't called for. But now sometimes I see them starting at 18%. So it'll be like 18, 22, and 25. And now this gets us to the point where we're looking at it from the business point of view. Is this something you want to put on your clients, on your customers? Do you want to force their hand? And if so, what are you thinking in terms of, is this off-putting to my clients? Am I creating more friction and now making, like you said, you were uncomfortable? Maybe the next time you don't want to be uncomfortable. Maybe the next time you just decide, I don't really want to go back because I remember I have to tip them and I don't feel like tipping them. So maybe it's not worth me going.
Yeah. And I could see that. A lot of people would think that. My business is different. It's not a business that you ask for tips or really get tip. But if I had, some kind of food service business, and we weren't giving service, people were just coming up, hey, can I get a coffee? Can I get a soda? Can I get a pretzel? Whatever. I wouldn't even want to ask for tip, but then I start thinking, everyone else asks for it. Can my employees get upset when everyone else is making tips everywhere else, and right there they don't get tip? So for the consumers, I wouldn't want to ask for a tip, but now is it going to make my employees upset? Are they going to not want to go work for me and go somewhere else, get the same pay plus tips? I don't know.
Yeah, I think if I was to be in the situation, I like to opt for no tips, because I think of myself, and I want my customers and my clients to be in the most seamless position possible. Don't worry about the tip, just patronize my business, and that would be perfect for me. So if I feel like I want to, I need to make up the difference in my employee pay, I will raise my prices, take those prices, put them into the employees, and have it that way. And I would let the employees know exactly what I was doing. I'm like, hey, you're going to start off with a higher pay. That's because we don't accept tips. I know they do, but what I want to do is I want to make this a seamless customer experience. So I'm paying you more. So that in effect is your tip. And that's the reason why we don't tip, is so that people feel comfortable coming to us. And that's how I would handle the situation. But it sounds like what you're saying is you would consider the tips, because even if I said that, right, some employees, that's not going to sit well, right? Like, you might not say anything. In fact, they probably wouldn't, but in the back of their minds, they'd be like, well, down the street, I heard, X, this person get $20 tip. I never have any of those days.
Yeah. So yeah, but I like how you explained it. If you don't want to do that, one way or another, you have to compensate the employee. So I'm pretty sure a lot of them would understand. Well, I'm getting a higher hourly wage, a guaranteed than the people down there, and you let them know why. I raise my price. It's a little bit higher than the other place because I'm paying you guys more. So at least you guys are guaranteed, and that would work. So I think it would work. I would go in that direction if I didn't want to accept tips, but I can't charge the same as the person down there, and the employees are taking tips, and because why it's just a matter of time till they leave to go work with your competition. So that's 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 a tough one, but yeah, I honestly don't understand. And like you said, they'll ask for the tip even before getting any service. First of all, they're doing nothing, and they want to get paid before that. So I don't know. I'm just because I don't own that type of business,
I think
but
I think one service that requires the tip up front is something like a DoorDash or one of those food delivery
yeah,
things.
yeah,
And that's really something where you don't know whether they did a good job until you actually look and see what you got.
yeah,
And so to me, the upfront tip, we're really extending the extension to where, first of all, I didn't even know if I was going to tip you, but now I'm tipping you, and I don't even know what kind of service I got. So that to me is really backwards, and it's just this tip. It's this like a really like a tip push pressure all around, and it's coming. The ones that are enabling this though are really the companies that are that have the tips that are making it to where the iPad shows a tip no matter what, and this is putting the pressure on the consumer, and that is why I take exception with it, and that is why we're talking about it today, is because I think ultimately we have now customers are treated in such a way as they are used beyond, like, it's not just a transaction anymore. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to buy something from you, I'm going to pay you, in exchange you're going to give me a product or service. Now it's you've got a tip, and we're going to need a review, and can you follow us on social media, and will you donate to our charity so we can contribute to charity? And customers are
yeah,
inundated with all of this stuff. I want feedback. And it's like, hey, I'm just here to buy something. Do you want to sell it to me or do you not?
yeah.
And so that's like, to me, I want to create the ultimate customer experience. And so I think it's worth a premium, but at the same time, I'm going to treat my customers the best way possible. And part of that is not putting anything on them that I shouldn't expect from them.
Yeah, that's the other one. Would you like to donate the rest of the change to charity to feed the homeless kid? They're like making you feel guilty, right? At
Yeah.
that point, okay. But whenever something doesn't feel right, it's not right. You feel that way for a reason.
And I do think it's wrong. Like, I'm thinking right now of when I go into the pet retailers, the pet stores, and they'll ask me, like, do you want to round up to save dying dogs? Something like that. And they'll just ask me that. And I'll tell them no. But so, of course, it sounds bad, but it's like, how many dogs do I have to rescue? I'm in here paying for the dogs that I
But you
pulled out
were
of
right.
the
Yeah.
shelter, anyways. And now you're asking for even more money. And it's like, there's my dog right now. He's barking in the background.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, you don't want to ask your customer that and then potentially put pressure on them in front of people when they came in there to do you the favor. Remember, you're getting the money from me. So why are you giving me a hassle for it? And I think that's why I have such a problem with it, is now the customer is being hassled, and we've gone away from treating a customer like, you remember how customers used to be treated like, thank you so much. It was like, the customer was treated really, really well for patronizing a business. And now it's like the customer has a gauntlet to face every time they want to interact.
Yeah. Let me tell you a quick story about this tipping getting out of hand. So a couple years back, we went to Disney World in Orlando, Florida. So while we were in Orlando, my family, they wanted Italian food. So we went to an Italian restaurant. We go in and look kind of fancy. So the waiter that attends us, it's something about him, something wasn't right. He starts talking to us in Italian. So we're looking at him like what? And then he starts laughing, and then he starts talking. He also spoke Spanish. Okay, then he starts talking Italian, and we look at each other, and he starts laughing like I don't know, like if it's funny, something cute. We don't understand Italian, so he kept doing that throughout the whole time. He brought the food, everything, but that was getting a little annoying. It's like, okay, we're not even laughing no more. We're kind of giving them a look like, stop speaking Italian. Okay. Anyways, um, we finished dinner. He brings the invoice, and I remember the invoice was like $97, just under 100. So I paid cash, gave him $115. No, I put 115 on the receipt. It wasn't cash. I paid card. It was $115. He comes back and he is pissed off. He points at, he's like, no, change the amount, put more. So at this point, I thought to myself, oh, wow, it does look like a fancy restaurant. Maybe there's a mandatory tip. There's some places that say like, mandatory 30%. So I thought to myself, whoa, I felt kind of embarrassed. I'm looking around. I'm like, man, maybe it is like a 30% tip. So I started to change it to 25. No, he goes like this, more. So I thought, okay, I'm trying to calculate. So I ended up giving like $30 tip. And then he gets it. He doesn't even say thank you. He just leaves. So I get back to the hotel, and me and my wife, like, we were not happy. So we called the restaurant the next morning. Well, can we speak to your manager? Yeah. Is there a mandatory tip we have to leave? No, you don't need to leave any tip if you don't want. So we explained our story. The manager was pissed off. He had us come down the next day, treated us to a full meal, dessert, everything on the house. And he said, we apologize. We know who you're talking about, and we've been getting complaints about him. Yeah.
You killed me when you said that you increased the price on his tip. No way. That guy and I would have had a problem.
No, I just thought it was that mandatory. So am I not meeting? Is it like a third? Because it looked like a fancy restaurant. So I didn't think nothing of it. But then I'm no, that was not right. Like, and I called the next day to see if there was like a percentage we had to leave. Because I know when you go to Olive Garden and it's more than 8 people, it's gratuity. It's a mandatory 20% or something like that. It's going to be added to your bill, though. So I thought to myself, if it was mandatory, they would have put it on the final price. Therefore, I'm like, no, this guy was just being a jerk.
It would be on the check, but that guy, that guy was that's a weird act that he's got. But hopefully he got fired. That guy definitely didn't deserve anything.
Well, we got a $200 meal the next day because we went all out. Everything's on the house.
Well, that's the sign that the manager knows what they're doing, because there's no way that your experience you should have never experienced that. And it's just weird. That's just weird. That's why I've actually I'll walk out of places now. Like I've been doing this for years, but like if something just goes too wrong, like sometimes you can't come back from it. And if he kept doing the Italian act, but you said you were in a nice restaurant, so maybe it was like theater or something, but I can't deal with that. But
like, I wanted to tell you, I know Kris would have walked out, or
for sure
pulled them off.
For sure. We would have had a discussion. Like, you're gonna tell me no on a tip? There's no way. The other day I was telling this girl, she was waiting on us, and our food didn't come. And like after a while, I was like, "Hey, we're just sitting here. Like it had been over 20 minutes. There's hardly anybody even near us. So it's not like they were busy." And then I walked up to her and I told her. She kept telling us, "Your food is coming." And then eventually, I was like, "Well, it's not coming." And so I told her, "We've waited for 20 minutes. Our food's not here. If it's not coming right now, we're leaving." And then she got mad at me, and she told me, first she told me, well, it's because we have a large party, and so we're serving their food first. And I was like, that's not my problem. I was like, that's on you. Like, if you have a large party and you can't handle, that's on you. But right now, you need to either serve either the food's ready or we're leaving, one of the two. And so she went, and it turns out our food was up there amidst that, but she hadn't got to it yet. But we had waited too long.
Yeah.
And it was, and she came back and she was mad. She came back, slammed the food down, or like kind of like, just tossed it down. And then she came back with a check, and she did slam that down. She didn't leave a pin. So I couldn't even sign it and leave no tip, but I did. She did end up getting no tip for that. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. Just I think the mandatory tipping, the pressure on tipping, it's gone too far. For me, if it's something where tipping is custom, then I believe in it, and I am more than willing. Especially, I usually tip at 20%, even for just like average service, because I was a waiter at one time. I was a waiter for at least a year, and so I understand it. But other times, I just don't think it's called for, and I think it is definitely it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, because think about it. McDonald's, Jack in the Box, any fast food place, they're not asking for tips because they know they shouldn't have to. They're just making the food. They're not giving you service, right? But man, all these other restaurants, I guess they think, we could get away with it. Let's do it. But people could only take so much till they get fed up.
And what's going to end up happening is it will come back to the business. People will stop going there because they know there's a surcharge for coming. The surcharge is a tip. Whereas other businesses, they understand it's understood that the employee's wage has it baked in that they are to fulfill their normal responsibilities.
Yeah.
So tips have extended too long. That's all I have to say. Do you have any last words?
No, I agree with you 100%.
All right, that's it for this episode.